Hi and hello, watch fans, and welcome to another edition of the Real Time Show. We're sitting here in the Grass Igloo in front of Villa Sarcel at Time to Watches 2025 with a friendly neighborhood watchmaker, Rob Nuts, me, your friendly neighborhood jeweler, Aloma Joseph. But suddenly I'm getting very confused because we were bound to record with a very special entrepreneur, Olivier Go from Taos Watches. Now, the awesome thing about this igloo is we're waving all day long, seeing new friends, old friends, and we have a very dear friend and an old friend, one that inspired me to do podcasts back in the day, the infamous Jeremy Oster of Talking Watches, but more importantly, Oster Watches and Oster Jewelers from Denver, Colorado. Welcome, Jeremy.
Well, thank you. It's actually Keeping Time podcast indeed. But it's everybody, there's a lot going on. There's whiskey on the table. These are the things that happen in Geneva. But you run into friends, and it's just an absolute thrill to see you. And thank you for inviting me in here.
You're saving our ass because I'm super excited to learn more about Taos and about Olivier. But you are actually a good scout because you retail the watches, don't you?
Yes.
So
Correct.
I'm so happy you're here. Tell us why every collector needs a Taos and why you start retailing them.
Well, you should probably introduce the gentleman here, the man behind it, and then I can tell you a bit more.
All right, Olivia, how are you?
Yes, I'm fine.
Welcome. Thank you for taking the time, being so patient with us, because obviously the schedule is all over the shop as always, and we're flying by the seat of our pants as usual. So why don't you give us a brief introduction to you and to the brand, who you are, how you got into watchmaking for the listeners.
So my name is Olivier Go. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Taos Watches. Taos Watches is a very old brand, launched in March 2024.
Heritage.
Heritage. So the brand is relatively young, but behind the brand is a very close partnership and collaboration with the atelier Olivier Vaucher, which is a métier d'art atelier here in Geneva. And the atelier has about 50 years of heritage and of knowledge in métier d'art.
Fantastic. So how did you find yourself involved with such an established institution?
So basically, Taos is the dream come true of Olivier Vaucher. He always dreamt of having a watch that could encapsulate the whole potential of the atelier, but never could really do it because he was running the atelier. And I have a family connection with Olivier Vaucher through his daughter, who's married to my brother.
Okay.
And so through a family discussion, we discussed about that. At the time, I was still working in the industry somewhere. But the idea started to germ in my mind. And when in 2021, I left my job and decided to start my own watch company, which is a different project, I called him and I told him, well, you know, I broke my teeth on making a watch, on creating a brand. I worked with retailers, so I have a tiny bit of knowledge. This dream of yours, we can make it come true together. And he was crazy enough to trust me and to say, okay, let's do it.
Well, by looking at the watches, I wouldn't say he was crazy at all. And now we can kick it over to our special guest, Mr. Oster, to tell us what attracted you to those pieces.
Well, I met Olivier last year and I saw, you know who it was? It was somebody else in the industry told me, you've got to go see this. You would appreciate what they have. And I'm like, okay, the last thing I want to do is go see another watch I've never heard of. And you know what it's like in everybody here. How many appointments does everybody have? It's crazy, right? So anyway, I said, fine, I'll be happy to. I walked in there and it was a different look for sure. But it's what it is about it. It is the absolute epitome of the artistry of fine watchmaking. It's every element of artistry. And for all of us here, we're very experienced. We know things, right? We've seen everything. But when they have artistry that you have to ask, someone who's been in the industry 30 years, you have to ask, tell me about this. That's something fascinating. And I mean, how many years of history is there that is being used on your watches?
Oh,
Hundreds of years, a lot of artistry.
yes,
Yeah,
yes. Well, but you know, the art of engraving is old, really old. The art of enameling by itself is fairly old as well. And so yes, there's hundreds of years of history behind.
yeah. So it's the interpretation of every art form in such a unique and original manner, and a level of expertise and craftsmanship that you really, rarely see. And I've never seen a watch that is just truly dedicated to that level of pure artistry as a brand, and that's what you do. And then the movement as well is just beyond belief. And every piece is such an original concept. So there's a true one-of-a-kind art. You fall in love with the piece, it's your piece. No one else is having it. It's yours. And that's what attracted me to it.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I'm sitting here silently enjoying amongst friends, listening to Jeremy, which I usually listen to in my ears in the gym or in the car while driving. So this is beautiful. We met actually at Geneva Watch Days
Correct.
during the Watchmakers United party. But it was
Yes.
dark, a lot of alcohol, and I didn't have my loop. Now, fortunately, I am becoming older, so I don't see that much. I'm sitting here in a beautiful sunny day in the igloo, looking at your caliber with a loop, which is mind-boggling. I love hand engraving. And what I love maybe most is the engraving in the case back, L'amour des métiers d'art. And that says it all. So compliments to you.
Thank you very much.
I'm really, really impressed because this is the first time I'm looking at what you guys are doing. So I salute you, chapeau.
Merci beaucoup.
To make a little pivot to Time to Watches, you're exhibiting here?
Yes.
Is it the first time?
With Taos, yes.
How is it?
At the moment, I can't complain. We're sharing the location with Beauregard, and we're very well
Oh, that's a good fit.
situated within the location. So if you walk in, there's about 2 meters distance to walk, and then you enter Taos and Beauregard.
I've taken the watch from Alon now, and I'm looking at the case back and the incredible engraving on the movement. But what I have to comment upon, and something everyone that's looking at these watches online should really be aware of, is the rotor, how clever it is. So, as many of you listening will know, a rotor has its heavy point, its point of inertia on the outside of it, and this is normally the thickest part of the rotor, or maybe sometimes made from a different, heavier material than the rest of it. But in this case, it appears as if the rotor has no heavy point, has no weight whatsoever, because it dips down. The arms of the rotor go right to the edge of this beautifully engraved movement and drop down behind the case back itself. And so it's a visual I've never seen before in my life, to be fair. It's absolutely crazy how it just looks so fluid and so elegant and allows for total appreciation of this engraving. It doesn't interrupt it at all. It doesn't cover it. There's barely any of this scene being obscured by it. Touches like that make me very, very happy as a watchmaker, and congratulations on that front. What is it that most people that come to your booth are most impressed by, shall we say? Is it the case design, the métier d'art on the dial, or is it the métier d'art on the case back, or these little clever, thoughtful touches throughout the watch?
It's I would say it's a mix of everything. Taos is our mission is to share and promote our passion for exceptional craftsmanship. So each watch that we produce is a piece of exceptional craftsmanship. So I think what impresses people is the attention to details and the the amount of work which is put into each individual watch. We, as Jeremy kindly said, we only produce unique pieces. So it's only one of one watch. And so that's a different approach also to creating a watch.
How many pieces do you make a year?
So it depends. The first year we launched with 7 watches.
Mm-hmm.
And then this year we are launching the new collection, and we are showing this week the first 3 pieces of the new collection. Some more are on the pipe, but it will take some more time.
I wanted to kick in here and just mention something. 'Cause you mentioned every piece is a piece unique.
Yes.
And a lot of companies do piece uniques, but what they'll do is they might change the color on the dial. It's the same watch, but they'll add a little tiny variation to make it a piece unique. What I think makes your watches so remarkable is that every unique piece is a totally unique concept. So the art form is different. It's not like they all got the same gear shift. It's totally different, every piece. And each piece, you can have a look at it and you will not understand what's happening until you look much deeper and really ask questions. Because there's art forms in each piece that I've never seen before in 30 years of doing watches. So it's really a remarkable testament to the creativity as well within your workshops.
Well, thank you.
From retailer to retailer. So it's almost a question I know the answer to, but is it a nightmare that you can suddenly make unique pieces with your customers? Or is it a dream?
Well, I don't think it's the kind of brand where the customer is invited to come up with a concept, although that is, of course, an option.
It is.
We're actually working on a piece there. But it's more, I think you've got to let their artists create, and then you fall in love and you connect with a piece. You'll find a piece that speaks to you. But it's not like what I call a bespoke edition where you have an idea, because what you're doing is you're trusting the best craftsman in the world, literally, to come up with an idea that you could never have thought of.
So not only métier d'art, you actually buy creativity and a piece of art that's not just mechanical art, but also the handicraft. So you also, and your lovely wife, sell jewelry and gemstones. So would you use that analogy that you start with a beautiful gemstone that is a pièce unique and create a jewel around it? Is that maybe that the best metaphor to use for Taos? That's what they're doing. And you buy watches from them. So you have pièce unique. So you have something unique in your boutiques.
Yeah, I would say so. As you well know, the best jewelry in the world, exactly as you say, is a jeweler who finds a gemstone. And any of us could maybe find that rare gemstone, but we may not have the vision to see what that can be as a unique piece of jewelry. And the best designers in the world are able to come up with that creation and be inspired. And that's what's so remarkable. And to be inspired that many times individually and to show literally a limitless ability to be able to come up with a new concept and challenge. It seems like you challenge yourselves constantly.
Completely.
So the newest piece I saw today was that incredible Savile Row, for example. So what they've done is they're creating a watch that literally looks like fabric. It looks like fabric. And you look at it and you think, yeah, that's a piece of fabric underneath. It's incredible. And then you look closely and you find that they have used an art form to create a metal dial that looks like soft fabric.
Incredible.
So the technique for that, what did you do? How did you do that?
So for Savile Row, it's a mix of techniques, but it's a bit of a hand engraving and then a lot of enamel.
But the texture on it, you look at it, it literally looks like you feel like you could wrap it into a scarf.
Wow.
It's that well done that it just makes it challenges you to think what is really possible, and to see things that you didn't know were possible is really inspiring to me.
Now you guys understand why I love keeping time with Oster.
I got the name right.
I drank a glass of water instead of whiskey. So he makes me want to buy watches. Now, question for you.
Yeah.
How do you do this supply chain? So you guys come out either with a concept or finished product. I don't know how many retailers you have. I guess Watchmakers United and Oster Jewelers, maybe you have more. Did you create one more? You can mention the name if you want.
Lavishatic, Hong Kong.
Yes, piano ciao.
Yeah.
We love piano.
Yeah.
So it seems you're getting the creme de la creme of retail. They're clicking on what you guys do. They are indeed literally the scouts of the independent watchmakings, and I salute them as a fellow retailer. What do you do? So do you have a WhatsApp group and you do first dibs? How do you allocate the pieces?
Well, it's it's a good question. It depends. The distribution strategy is a healthy mix of straight to customers and a few retailers, which for me are much more business providers than regular retailers. The relationship that I have with Jeremy, that I have with Piano, and with Watchmakers United is different in the way that I always try to work and be able to come and show the pieces to the end clients. And so yes, I haven't had the chance to come to Denver, but I will definitely. But I went to Hong Kong. Obviously, we are from Geneva, so I go regularly to Watchmakers United.
So hypothetically, retailer ABC comes to Villa Saracen and says, I want to become a dealer or retailer. What do you do? How do you decide yes or no? Because I assume you don't want dozens and dozens.
No, and I can't because I only have a very limited production. So I can't have watches everywhere. The way I look at it is first the relationship, the human connection. Taos is a human adventure first and foremost. It's a question of trust from Olivier and Dominique Vaucher and the whole atelier, and myself. They trust me to represent their incredible craftsmanship through Taos and to be some sort of an ambassador for the atelier. And I like to keep relationships this way with retailers. So I need to have a good relationship with people. And then obviously I need to make sure that they have the right potential and the right clientele for the watches.
Well, on that note of human connection and the importance of those relationships, I think we should end this lovely convivial episode conducted amongst friends and colleagues, and an insightful one for us, I think. Something that we weren't expecting to see and to learn more about today, certainly not in the Glass Igloo.
I'm in love.
Oh, man. Succinct and to the point. Yeah, the face Olivia just made then says it all. Okay, well, thanks very much for your time, gents. It's been a real pleasure. We
Very
wish you
much for
both
having me.
an excellent end to the fair, and we'll catch up with you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for inviting me to join you guys.
Our pleasure, Jeremy. Anytime. Now, this is a brand, Alon, that I didn't know anything about before we sat down with them in the Glass Igloo outside Villa Saracen all those weeks ago to discuss the novelties of Time to Watches 2025, Taos. Now, can you explain briefly to our listeners the concept, as you remember it, of this brand?
I have to admit, this wasn't the first time encountering Olivier Gaud. It's technically not the first interview I've done with him, because the first one was off the record, and in a nice way, I got ambushed. Where was this? Geneva Watch Days, summer 24, at the Sherpa Fears Drinks with Watchmakers United. Remember, by the lake?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember.
Fun evening.
That was nice, yeah.
A lot of beers, a lot of people, almost all friends. We're having a blast. Somebody introduced me to Olivier. We started chatting, blah, 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 blah. And it was late, end of the fair week, alcohol involved. It was late already, so it was dark outside. I saw a beautiful watch on his wrist. He started pitching to me, but it was one big blur to me. So when he came into the Glass Igloo for the official interview on the mic, I was blown away times two. His concept is they're basically pièces uniques. I wouldn't call bejeweled, but they're jeweled watches. Doesn't mean that every piece they co-create with the person ordering the watch, or often they're men that gift them to their partners and make them, they're commissioned, let's say. They can be set with gemstones or mother of pearl or diamonds or whatever, but not necessarily so. And they don't just make female watches. So I love this. I mean, who today still works like that? And who focuses more on ladies than men, right? And call it jewel-ish watches. And I mean this in the broad sense of the word of a jewel. It looks precious, and it's not always made of precious metals, but they're like precious mechanical pieces of art on your wrist. Means he doesn't make his life easy. Doesn't mean you can get it quickly. They're not off the shelf, and they're not low in price. Are they expensive? No. Are they cheap? No. I love that they went to the old school style of jewelry making and therefore watchmaking. And I can only think of one nemesis for Taos, which is our dear friend from Bolliga.
Okay, interesting. That's exactly who I was going to reference when I jumped in there, thinking it's nice to see this. And I club them in exactly the same group, even though Alexander is obviously a stone setter and finisher, a lapidariatrist. Is that the word? I always get it wrong. But he is an expert, a master of that, and this is something quite different. I mean, if you want a more mainstream corollary for what they're doing, it's similar to Vacheron Constantine's Métier d'Art selection, really, isn't it? You know, with the engravings and the fine enameling and whatnot, and the stone setting as well. I think it's brilliant that these brands are emerging. I think it's brilliant there's a market for them. It's interesting pricing. You said, if you remember our interview of Alexander Beauregard, he said one of the things he struggled with in Dubai, which would be an excellent market for pieces of that nature, was that he was actually too cheap. And he would find people coming up and looking at his watches and then going, oh, how much are they? And he'd say they're like 60,000. I'm like, oh, I wanted it to be 100. And they'd leave it. They literally wouldn't buy it. They wouldn't be like, oh, wow, that's a bargain. That's 40 grand cheaper than I wanted to spend. They wanted something beautiful and arresting so that their friends would say, oh, how much is that? And then they'd have to be able to drop the six-figure price tag, or it wouldn't be good enough. And that's the thing with a brand like this. You don't have to cut corners with the price. You don't have to depress it in any way. You don't have to do anyone a favor. If people can afford to buy your wares, even at a suppressed price, they can likely afford to buy them at the price that they should be, and probably even twice that. And maybe, weirdly enough, they might prefer to pay that price that's way over what it's really worth, because it means they're exclusive. And that would work for a brand like Taos, because they've got so much hands-on work to do and so many artisans to coordinate with to bring each of these pieces to life. And it is superb work, isn't it? It is really great stuff.
It is. And you know how much I love engravers as well. I love enameling. I like gouache. But hand engraving has a very special place in my heart. And I spent as much time on the backside of the watches he brought and as the front side or the sides of the cases. And this guy is not busy with making money. I don't even think he thinks of ROI. This is a legacy project. He wants to make the best possible art he can. And he does this with a big team that he transparently talks about who he works with. And I was blown away. It's very elegant. It's not per se always stealth wealth, although I don't know how much you remember of the one that's very much made for men, and he nicknamed that the Savile Row because he uses different techniques and emulating tartans and cloths, but the dial is enamel, and the caliber is like exclusively made for Taos by Teleos and white gold. So this is stealth wealth, because talking about the 100K, this is a 140,000 Swiss francs ex VAT watch. And you need to have good pedigree to get away with this and compete with a Patek, basically. I mean, everybody who wants a elegant two-hand watch in an precious metal case and an enamel dial, where do you go? Probably Patek, right?
Yeah, it's probably would first think of going, or Vacheron Constantin maybe.
Yeah. Therefore, I salute him that he has the cojones to even do this.
So here's a question for you. Even though the Savile Row is the one that's been ostensibly made for men, it isn't the one I would choose if I could have any of them on my wrist. Which one would you choose? Would you go for that one, or would you go for something else?
Nice. Good mental exercise. Well, with him, I would make a custom one. And that begs the question, what will I do then?
Okay, well, that's an interesting answer as well. It's not the question I asked, but go ahead and answer it anyway.
And as if I do whatever you ask me to do, right? I mean, I've difficulties falling in line with my wife, and trust me, I do my utter best. There's my favorite word, utter. And that's why I'm still married. But me following rules, hence I've never been employed in my life, dude. But if you're twisting my arm, browsing taoswatches.com right now, I think I will choose. I just clicked away. Sorry. I would choose. Where is it? The Envol Bleu.
Yeah, they're very good choice. Personally, and this is a bit of a curveball because the Envol Bleu and the Envol Rouge are both beautiful and maybe the sort of most unisex of the bunch. But I'd actually go for the Broderie, the last one in the collection, because it's like lace, right?
Yeah,
and it's very feminine, very delicate. But I think that it's also like maybe the most under the radar. And I love the way that those separate pieces have been inlaid in the dial, the height of it, the 3D nature of it. Like it's stunning. Oh, there's my keyword, stunning and utter, dropped out in the same
episode.
Yeah.
I want to make a little wager, a bet with you.
Okay, I'm listening.
I don't think he wants to sell the company. I don't think that's his mission. He's not busy with an exit strategy. I dare to make a little wager that Chanel is going to buy him.
What about Van Cleef?
Yeah, but Chanel is independent.
Yeah.
And they understand watchmakers, and they'll let you stay in your own lane without falling into the fold, falling in line. Maybe he'll have offers from both, and he'll choose Chanel. And okay. This idea popped into my mind because you said broderie. You know that Chanel buys all lace makers in France and around the world, broderies, embroideries, pelleterias, and they just want to protect the savoir-faire and the métier d'art, to drop two French words the watch industry loves so much to use and misuse, that I think that will happen to him. You know that?
I could see it. What are you betting me here? You're betting me that it will happen and I've got to bet against it.
And if you agree with me, we'll do a timeline. And if you don't agree with me, we have a yes or no game.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. I agree that it may well happen, or I agree that the offer will come down on the table. I'm not going to say whether he's going to take it or not, but I'll say this. I think he'll get an offer from Van Cleef as well. So if you say Chanel, I say Van Cleef.
Okay, you know what? Let's take it broader. TRTS community can join in. We'll make a group pool bet. We'll bet on either beers or whatever, or drinks or goodies, or we'll figure it out. Let's make a little bet. I'm voting yes, they're going to be bought out. So we'll make a pool, yes or no. We can make a third option as well. Bankruptcy, which I don't want actually to incorporate into this game because it's not nice, but it is an option. And continuing the course is also an option. So you have 4 options. But let's say we're voting yes or no. Yes, and I vote for the pool of Chanel. You voted Van Cleef. You want to join us? Hit us up in the TRTS community.
All right, we've created a monster here. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll be back in touch soon.